I'm your host, Emily Sneed Hearing, and next to me is my husband, Brian Hearing.
Hello.
So we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do this week for our podcast, and I realized that there's nothing going on this coming weekend, meaning there's no holidays, no family events. And I thought about it, and we've had something to celebrate or to congratulate someone on nearly every week since March. And that's always been the case for us ever since I began dating Brian. From March 14th until July 6th, there are birthdays, holidays, and anniversaries to celebrate. And I thought it would be interesting to talk about how we normally celebrate those events versus how we've had to do it because we're in COVID times right now, kind of piggybacking off our episode last week.
Yeah, and it's strange with all the things going on and with COVID and everything, it's weird how the calendar still fills up just like it normally would. Alright, there's not many weekends where there's just nothing going on, even though everybody's more restricted than normal.
Yeah, exactly. That is weird to think because when you first hear about, okay, we have to shelter at home, we can't go places, you're like, well, I've got months and months of not doing anything. And that was kind of the case in the beginning. But once I think May hit, it just started to fill up. But I actually did a calculation right before we recorded here on how many holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries we would normally celebrate during these few months. But coincidentally, these few months have also been when the pandemic started. So we have celebrated 6 holidays, 4 anniversaries, and 15 birthdays. Do you see that number of birthdays? I'm surprised, but also not surprised at the same time because I knew there were quite a few.
Yeah, but it's a different perspective when you actually see the number for it. Like, I
Yeah.
knew that we had quite a few birthdays and holidays and everything, but I hadn't actually put it in numbers before, so that's interesting.
Well, everything starts with like this whole celebration time period of the year starts with Brian's sister's birthday, and it ends with our cat Theo's birthday, which we just celebrated a couple of days ago. And in between all of that, there's St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July, and those are just the major holidays. And both of our parents have their anniversaries. Lisa and Chris have their anniversary, and our best friends Josh and Tasha have their dating anniversary, and then countless birthdays. All of Brian's immediate family has birthdays in this time period. My mom has her birthday. It's quite insane to think about. So what's interesting about this time of year is even though like Christmas, for example, you might think, okay, you're gonna doing a lot of prep for Christmas and it's probably your busiest time of year. And really it's the most condensed time of year, but there's a lot more prep that goes on March, April, May, June, and just the very beginning of July. And usually it's let's go around, let's go shopping, get birthday presents, anniversary presents, stuff for the events we're going to. And with COVID, everything has changed. We aren't able to take family out to dinner for birthdays. We missed 3 of our friends' 30th birthdays. Of course, we texted them and wished them happy birthday and all of that, but what I would have loved to have done is taken them out and had a big party and go, crazy celebrating. None of that could happen this year.
Well, hopefully next year, but I mean, we have to do what we have to do. So I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who've missed birthdays and anniversaries, holidays. But even then, it's a lot of the little things too, like kids going and playing soccer, and they can't really do that because there's no sports at the moment. And for parents, they miss a lot of those milestones like prom and graduation and things like that that they just can't really get back. So it's birthdays, but it's also a lot of other things too.
Well, and we've also had to get pretty creative. I'm the type of person that even if you say, "Oh, don't get me anything for my birthday or my anniversary. I don't need anything." I like to give gifts, and this year we've definitely had to get creative because we can't just go to the store or even buy online and just get whatever we feel like getting for our friends and family because we are on a tighter budget because of COVID. So we've had to get really creative with our gift giving, which has actually been a nice blessing because we have to think about, okay, what is this person or this couple actually going to want and how can we do that in a budget friendly way?
Yeah, and I feel like it's more personal that way. Like for Christmas, we made all the family members candles, like homemade candles. I think that everybody appreciates that a little more than just like a gift card or just a thing that you buy off the store
Hmm.
shelf.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
So one other thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently here is like how is all of this COVID and everything going to be impacting like our culture going forward? Like you mentioned earlier, we've missed a lot of birthdays and anniversaries and things like that. And I've been thinking about how I wonder if this will change the way that we act for things like birthdays and holidays, much in the same way that people who lived through the Depression took everyday things and were like more frugal than normal, and if that's going to be kind of a cultural shift for our
I
generation.
could definitely see that. I mean, one like positive thing that I will be taking from this into further celebrations of events and birthdays and whatnot is the gift giving of, finding something personalized or making something. I definitely want to take that concept. I did that here and there before COVID, but I think we've proven to ourselves we can get really creative with gifts, and I definitely want to take that into further gift giving down the line. But I also think that'll happen with the celebrations in general because if COVID had never happened and we entered this time frame of the year, which is our busiest time, it would be a no-brainer. Like for my best friend Tasha for her 30th, let's go to Stowe Creek and line dance. Easy. Like that's a no-brainer way to celebrate her birthday. I know she would love it. We would love it. But now it's like I have no clue when we'll go out and celebrate her birthday that way because neither of us want to go out to an establishment like that with all those people and the risk of infection and all of that. So I think it'll definitely make some of us more cautious. I don't think everyone will be like that, obviously, because we're seeing that not everyone's like that now. But I do think it'll make a lot more people cautious about where they celebrate and how they celebrate their events in the future.
hmm And I'm wondering if, like, even 6 months from now, if there'll be a transition into like smaller
Hmm.
birthday parties, or instead of inviting all the family over, maybe just like a couple
Right.
people and things like that, where it's just something that you had to have lived through in order to really get it, you
I
know?
agree. And I'm sure there's multiple people out there whose plans have been shifted or who normally have events going on around this time that they haven't been able to do. And for us, we normally go to Lake Quinault with my entire family during Memorial Day weekend. And we've done that since I was, I think, be 2 or 3, and I'm 30 going on 31 right now. And not being at Quinault over that 3-day weekend was the strangest feeling. It's never happened before.
hmm
I think we've joked that 2021 will be our year for Lake Quinault because in 2019 half the family got norovirus. In 2020 nobody could come because of coronavirus. So hopefully 2021 will be able to go as normal. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But who knows what next year might deliver to us? I mean, we still haven't done aliens yet, right?
Please don't jinx us. We can't handle that. We've already had the strangest year. I don't know about you guys, but I am ready to just ride out the rest of this year. We've got a little tiny bit less than half a year left, and let's just start over in 2021. I'm like calling this year a wash.
Yeah, pretty much.
It has shown us that you can still, I mean, obviously, this is a no-brainer, but connect with the people you love without seeing them in person. We've done a few Zoom birthdays where we've played games with family over the internet. Obviously, everybody's birthday that has come across during this time, we've sent loving messages out, told those people we were thinking of them, and we're sorry we can't celebrate the way we would normally would. We've still seen our immediate family for some of these holidays. So it hasn't totally canceled out, obviously, the love and the celebration that normally surround all of these events. And that's something that I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, and we've like you said, we still find ways to connect with people, and even not just on birthdays and holidays. Things like we've been doing weekly game nights on Saturdays, And we just have everybody get together on Discord and we'll play Cards Against Humanity or Pictionary or things like that. So just found ways to kind of improvise and change how we do things.
Yeah, I've been doing group FaceTime sessions with my best friends, and we each, get a glass of wine or a glass of coffee or whatever. Glass of coffee, that makes no sense. Mug of coffee. Um, and we talk and hang out through FaceTime. And obviously, it's not as good as seeing somebody in person and giving them a hug and whatnot, but it is absolutely better than nothing.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the takeaway from this year is that sometimes just better than nothing is all you can really hope for.
Well, and when March 14th kicks in next year, which, as I said, is the start of our months of family and friends celebrations, we are never going to take all that time for granted again, because hopefully we're able to kind of get back to normal next year and do what we would normally do. Knock on wood, I'm trying not to jinx that. If we can, I think we're going to go into that full force. Like, you want to go to a restaurant? Let's do it. Let's celebrate. Let's not take stuff we normally do for granted ever again.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a lot of people who almost go overboard in a lot of ways just to kind of do
I
something.
agree. I agree. And there's a lot of IOUs. I told friends, hey, happy birthday. I owe you a drink next time we can go out. Or I know Brian wanted to go to an axe throwing place for his birthday, and we thought that was going to be the perfect idea. And that's on the to-do list for sometime in the future. We have no clue when we can do it, but he's one of those, okay, well, put you on the list for we'll celebrate the way you want to celebrate later. See when that can happen. Like we said, if there's one positive thing we can pull from celebrating in COVID time, is that you don't need all the fancy bells and whistles to celebrate someone's birthday or their anniversary or a holiday. What you need is the people you love, and even if you can't see them in person, you can send a text, FaceTime, whatever you need to do to connect. And that's one thing that this pandemic definitely cannot take away from us, and that is the closeness we feel with those we love. And even though it's always a crazy few months to celebrate all these events, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because it just means we have a lot of people to celebrate and a lot of love to spread.
Exactly. I think that's the main takeaway from this is that it's as long as we have each other, we can make it through pretty much anything.
And it also proves that both of our family cats are extremely spoiled, because they definitely got some decent birthday celebrations this year. They are included in that
Oh
tally.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where all of our podcasts are released. And we will see you guys next week.
See you later.